Welcome to Friday. Oh my, it's Friday the 13th, 2023. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily and WYDOT. Remember, when there's ice and snow, take it slow. Well, we've got a small break in the weather pattern across the Intermountain West and the Western High Plains. We're going to see better weather for travel. We are looking at good weather to take down those Christmas lights, or if you're looking for a break to where maybe some of the roads and highways will get cleared out a little bit. Well, for today and for Saturday, there won't be much going on. So a little bit of a break, but we're going to see the West Coast get battered by storms later today and into the weekend. And then the remnants of those Pacific storms will come through the Rockies and High Plains later this weekend and into next week. So we'll see snow return to the mountains late Saturday into Sunday and Monday. Some snow showers will come over the divide and on into the plains in a bit of a disorganized fashion, although there's going to be a little bit of a stronger weather system that is going to be coming over the divide middle of the week that we kind of need to keep an eye on. We got low confidence on where it's going to go, but there's going to be a little bit of a bigger system around Wednesday or Thursday that needs watch. Major weather pattern change across the Northern Hemisphere is on track. Things are going to really shift gears. And we'll be talking less and less about all these Pacific storms and talk more about Canada as a colder weather pattern is going to develop for the rest of January into February. Then what that'll do is it'll turn off the flow of rain and snow for California. They'll just see it come to an abrupt end once this pattern changes. And then the center parts and the west central parts of the United States will be in for colder, more stormy weather. Today's satellite photo shows the continuation of that active pattern across the Pacific. You can see the swirl of clouds there just off the west coast. That's already bringing areas of rain back in the Northern California right now, and will be pushing on in. Now, the next couple of storms, in terms of their intensity, is not quite as intense as the last couple that have hit the west coast, but it'll just continue to add more to the rain and the snow totals there. Great shot here out of the Bighorn Mountains along a snowmobile trail there. Beautiful shot. They need some more snow. It really hasn't snowed much at all across northern Wyoming, or in fact, southern areas of Montana. I believe Billings has gone 3 weeks without measurable snow. It's just kind of the luck of the draw. The pipeline of Pacific moisture has been more directed to the central parts of the Rockies. But things will change eventually with this weather pattern change, and we'll see things get upended and kind of a reversal of what we're seeing now. Here's the high pressure ridge overhead for today. So this is our nice break in the weather, but you can see the pipeline, really it's like a freight train of cars, rail cars, just coming into the West Coast through the weekend, and that's going to continue here a little bit longer. But we are going to be able to enjoy some good weather. This area of low pressure that caused the snow earlier this week caused the severe weather outbreak down in the southeastern United States over the last 24 hours. This will go up to the East Coast, become a rain and snow event there. So we're actually going to have some of the better weather in the United States right here today and tomorrow. But by noon Sunday, you can see a push of the jet stream winds further inland coming into the West Coast and into the Rockies. And what this will do is push moisture in. This is by Sunday morning. So by Sunday morning, you can see the heavy rain along the West Coast, and you can see the lighter green shades areas coming on in, pushing that better moisture into the divide again. So along I-80 into Utah, across Nevada into California, and across the Intermountain West, even down into Arizona. Areas of rain and snow get pushed in by Saturday night and into early Sunday. Now this is through Monday. Now notice there's a little bit of moisture right here coming over the divide. So late Sunday into Monday, we could have some areas of snow and snow shower activity spill into central and eastern Wyoming, into the Dakotas, into Nebraska, maybe some snow showers into northern Colorado, and more snow coming up into the mountain areas. This is what the snowfall forecast looks like through Monday. So you can see it's going to favor the mountains and areas west of the divide. Now this is where it gets a little more complicated, and really, honestly, when we talk to you again on Monday, we'll probably have a better idea. But we've got some disagreement in the modeling, which is to be expected as you go through a major weather pattern change. We do have a little bit of a stronger, better organized low coming off the West Coast. The European model that I'm showing you here wants to have a pretty decent looking, somewhat organized upper level low over northeastern New Mexico by Wednesday. This would bring some upslope and draw moisture into this area here, and bring areas of precipitation that really have been missing out. If this takes this track, you're looking at the heavier moisture here, which is further south than these systems have been performing lately. That's the European model, and this is what the precipitation looks like, potentially. Again, take this with a grain of salt because we're not really confident of this, but if that does transpire, some badly needed precipitation for Kansas and southeastern Colorado and the panhandles would come on in. That winter wheat country there would really like to see that coming on through. But that's a track a lot further south than what we've seen this winter so far. The GFS, or the American model, is more of a more northerly track. And we're also seeing this with some other modeling as well. If that happens, well, the axis of precipitation is going to be a little bit further to the north. It would be more upwards towards about right here if it takes that track. So we'll see. Nonetheless, towards the middle of next week, a precipitation event gets east of the mountains. But where it's going to go, we've got to sort things out. Then longer term, this is all the way out to the 28th of January. This is that pattern that looks extremely familiar to what we had in December, where the high pressure ridges build up into the Atlantic, up to Greenland. Then a big ridge develops in the eastern Pacific, and basically the door opens to Canada again. We say this throughout the course of any season, whether it's the winter season or the spring or summer season, is you tend to see weather patterns repeat themselves. What'll happen early in the season will sometimes happen again later in the season. That's just kind of how the rhythm of weather patterns will work during a particular year. So having this pattern come back is really not unusual, especially with the sea surface temperature anomalies we see out in the Pacific. So colder weather's coming on back, and we're going to start to see the colder weather next week. And we have the potential, as we showed you with those Siberian temperatures yesterday, the potential for getting quite cold again is certainly on the table. And this is the temperature anomalies by that same time period. You can see all that purple from Alaska stretching down into the western areas of the U.S. So that's something we'll continue to monitor. A lot of details to sort out, but certainly those trends are there. And when you see a pattern like this, this completely cuts off that flow of moisture from the Pacific. And California will see a pattern of getting dried out for the rest of January into early February. Wanted to show you a couple things about water and what's happened over the last 14 days. We've really seen some areas pick up some beneficial moisture, and that's being represented in the snowpack. But this is the precipitation totals over the last 14 days for Wyoming, parts of Colorado, western Nebraska. Look at this axis of moisture right here. This is really quite interesting. When you look right here, this area of heavier moisture, certainly really, really good to see. Look at Fremont County, Wyoming, around the Lander, Riverton areas and over to Casper. You know, this area right here, I mean, that is just a fabulous amount of moisture. And that's way above what happens usually in late December and early January, at least on the plains. Another area I want you to highlight is across Carbon County, Wyoming. If you've been wondering why Interstate 80 has been having so many problems, you've got to look and realize how much snow has fallen in the last 2 weeks along Interstate 80, especially right here. It has been a tremendous amount of snow. And all of this is basically what's coming off the West Coast, and the angle of attack, so to speak, the angle of these storms has been very favorable for the Wind River Mountains, Wind River Basin, the Snowy Range, and the Sierra Madres in particular to pick up a tremendous amount of snow. But also really good moisture has spilled over east of the divide as well. So this is all really good news in terms of the drought situation. And if you look at the mountain areas, you can see that. These are the anomalies. So you can see, especially around Fremont County, Wyoming, into Natrona County, Wyoming, this axis of heavier moisture from these storms coming off the Pacific has really proved beneficial. And there you can see Steamboat, around Steamboat, up into the Sierra Madres, the western side of the Snowy Range. Look at the Wasatch Front. I mean, you're talking about anomalies that are really off the charts in terms of heavy precipitation, and we're seeing that in the snowpack. You can see the dark blue areas here is where the concentration of the flow of the moisture has been best. Look at this, 323% of average in the Central Sierras. Just an incredible amount of moisture. And we've been watching Lake Oroville. Look at this, up to 760 feet. But this is the really interesting data point here to show you. In one day, that reservoir has gone up over 6 feet. That's quite a bit of water going into that reservoir there. Have yourself a great weekend. Have a good Friday the 13th. We'll see you on Monday.